Yo, what's poppin', Bagel Bros, and welcome back to another Patreon rant. If you want one of these for yourself, be sure to give me $10 a month on Patreon. This one comes from Izzy Boy, who says, "Hey, Crunchy Boy, I be the hippity, the hoppity. Could you rant about the long-form standardization of video content on YouTube and the benefits/disadvantages it has compared to short-form content, aka anywhere from like 10 minutes long?" We're in a weird time when it comes to YouTube because YouTube has two main functions in society right now for most people, it seems. Either foreground content or background content. Now, people's trends towards the foreground content is YouTube Shorts. Hundreds of millions of people are watching YouTube Shorts. These things are like anywhere from 10 seconds to 3 minutes long, but tend to be shorter. They tend to be under a minute because the algorithm, to my knowledge, actually prioritizes shorter videos in shorts. Whereas background content, podcasts, very long video essays, they tend to be extraordinarily long nowadays. And this is a huge departure from how YouTube used to be. YouTube used to be only foreground content. If you go way back to the site's origins, the genesis of YouTube, it's people making like 2 to 3 minute long skits or viral videos that you watch and you like dedicated look at. You know, it took a while to load videos and web pages or whatever. If you were on the internet, you weren't just casually throwing it on. You know, you were doing dial-up or whatever. You had to pay attention to it. Like, anything on the internet was a big deal. And then as time went on, those trends sort of fell by the wayside. Videos got longer. You know, it used to be that you couldn't even upload a video past 10 minutes on YouTube due to server space. Eventually, there was no limit. And so people went longer and longer. And I still remember the days when a 40-minute video was like mind-blowing. Whoa, videos can be that long? 40 minutes? 40 minutes is a big deal. At least it used to be. But now people release 40-minute videos like every week. People make 40-minute videos all the time. It no longer feels special to me. You know, I remember way back in the day, I made this video called The Crusade Against UHC YouTubers. 40 minutes long. Crazy. Like, that was my bar for a long video. Now my bar for a long video is like up to like an hour. I'm so tolerant to long form content, and it has benefits and disadvantages both. Now, personally, I think all the best YouTube videos are long. And I'm defining long here as like above, I guess you put out a definition for me. Personally, I think under 10 minutes is still even a bit short to be, like, honestly, even up to 30 minutes. I'd say 30 minutes is once, like, around that point, 25 to 30 minutes, that's when you get to a medium-length video. And I'd say something officially becomes long, probably around 40 minutes. And I'd say that using that definition, long videos tend to be the best ones. 40 minutes, that's like a lot of time to make a really good point and put your all into making this point make as much sense as possible. Or you have a long-form documentary like 2 Days in Moore, Oklahoma, which is a YouTube video I talk about all the time. That is a legitimately, like, it's a masterpiece. It's so good, and it's only good because it's so long. Summoning Salt videos that get to, you know, tell this point about the entire history of a game's speedrunning. You just can't replicate that in short form content, especially the really short form content that's like only a minute long. You know, they can't really make big grand points. They have to just entertain you for a millisecond. But the disadvantages, I think, comes more in the way that YouTube has evolved over time, where YouTube is becoming increasingly passive. You know, before, you used to completely commit yourself to a video. Now it's like people are throwing shit on in the background all the time. I'm doing it, you're doing it, everyone is doing it. I always have podcasts on in the background while I'm editing, while I'm shaving, while I'm doing the dishes. those are all convenient times to have something on. Thankfully, I'm not so cooked in the brain that like sometimes some people even put it on while they're just walking. While they're walking in the streets, they'll just put on podcasts, and I'm not that cooked yet. I have all my walks in complete silence so that I can just think to myself, and it's genuinely a healing experience for my brain, because at all other times it is being cooked from every side, god damn it. Yeah, our attention spans are fucked, but for extremely long video essays, it makes sense why people put them on in the background. There's often not enough time to put them on, to dedicate yourself to that. Typically you want to put it on while you're doing something more productive, or in some people's case, they do it while playing video games, which is extremely cooked behavior. And so I feel like, at least for me, as someone who makes long-form video essays, it's kind of disheartening in a sense to know that most people will consume it in the background or very passively, even though I try very hard with making sure that everything, like the way I pace my videos, it's kind of astonishing that people can even pay attention to it in the background. A part of me feels like they probably aren't, unless it's something like really passive that they're doing in the foreground. So that they can put all their effort into listening to it. A part of me is like, well, why do I even edit these fucking things if no one's gonna pay attention to them? But at the same time, there are people, I get this comment a lot, people saying, I was gonna put this on in the background, but a few minutes in, I realized this is foreground content. This is good enough to be worth my time. And then they put it, they watch it and they have a very fulfilling experience that way. That's what I like to see. But because they're so long, a lot of people, come in with the expectation that, well, I can just put this on in the background and I won't have to think about it very hard. So yeah, those are the advantages and disadvantages. I don't know where I was really going with that. That's about it. See ya.